Hello everyone and welcome to the carpool review for the new expansion of Adeptus Custodes. First of all, I want to say a thing before even start reviewing the cards. They changed some cards in the complete reveal collection compared to what they showed in the spoilers from the other YouTubers. And I really don't like this kind of attitude. Some cards got changed even before the release, mainly for the wars actually. And I don't really like this kind of attitude. If you have an idea, just go with it, and you can fix it later. Like Thousand Sons are broken, but nobody changed them upon release. And why you have to do that with Custodes? Also, it's not that they were overpowered or anything. I don't know if they ran some tests and so they're too strong, but I don't think so. But yeah, it generally gave me a really bad impression of the development team. So I don't know. I hope these kind of things won't happen anymore because it's just a very disappointing way of showing off a new faction, a new army. So let's start with the warlord, but before touching the warlord, I want to touch the two keywords there that they put into the Custodes, and they are actually adding up to Sentinel, which is still a thing. So the first one, of course, Sentinel doesn't let you draw cards, and Nemesis, draw a Custodian. Nemesis triggers only when opponents have a troop, so not even the warlord, just a troop with higher attack. So even triggering it, it's going to be a challenge, just because Custodes are not small at all, and there are some 6, 7, 8 attack Nemesis Custodes, and when will you actually trigger the Nemesis? Never, because it's impossible that except maybe for Tishayal and some other things that are usually played. I think it's completely wishful thinking that you are going to proc every single Nemesis of your deck, with a few exceptions, of course. But still, I don't think this is a great mechanic. Also, if they have equal power, this doesn't trigger, and I think this would improve some cards way. They would be so much better if it was at least even attack, instead it's just higher. And the second one, it's exemplar, which is this keyword. So if this is the only Custodes at the start of your turn, so it works like Relentless, and this is the only Custodes, it triggers exemplar. And usually there are some pretty powerful effects, but the point is that already Relentless is just not a great ability, because it works in a way that allows your opponent to deal with it. Having also the drawback of Sentinel, and also the drawback of having only one Custodes up at a time, otherwise you won't trigger Exemplar. If you have two Custodes, they kill one, they don't kill anything, they just ignore your troops, and you are stuck with two Sentinel troops, and no one is going to trigger the Exemplar. So a couple of things to keep in mind. Now let's go with the warlords, where Callimachon was already there. I won't spend any time reviewing him. I wanted to start with the warlord I think is the most competitive, so Ammon. Except for the art, that is actually awful. He has first strike by default, like old Ammon, and when you trigger Nemesis you gain +1/+0, so this can give you some rage in killing troops. Also, with 2 energy, deals 2 damage to a troop and has high initiative. So I think Ammon could be kind of an aggressive warlord. I will give you my points about deck building at the end of the review. I will already say that I don't want to start playing Custodes, so my thoughts could be wrong. However, given what I've seen in the event and what other people are brewing, after seeing all the card pool, I think I have a kind of an idea of how I would build at least Amon. And the other one I don't really care, if I have to say. But Amon, I think it's an interesting warlord. Like, he has control with first strike. He can save a lot of life trading. The Nemesis can actually improve both his ability to do damage, and he takes less damage because he has first strike. He can also deal 2 damage if there is a taunt. So I think the front line, I think it is an interesting warlord. Constantine Valdor. So he gives +2, +0, +2 to a friendly troop for 2 energy, and if you don't control any troop, you draw a card. Effect is okay. I actually maybe liked old Valdor better, but yeah, nothing crazy. The Reckoning lowers whenever you trigger Exemplar and starts with 15. Before, in the spoilers, it was 18, which was impossible to to do unless you're playing only against bots. And whenever you trigger Exemplar, so if you want to put it simple, you have to stick a Custodes at least for 5 turns before even this becomes playable, and need to be an Exemplar Custodes. So not an easy to trigger Reckoning. I think this will almost never trigger. There are a couple of ways to improve the chance of reaching the Reckoning. But yeah, yeah, and also the reward, Emperor Spear, is strong. It has first strike, 3 attack, and has +1/+0 for each friendly troop. And also with the 2 energy, it draw and put in player on Custodian, so it's similar to the mission. The point is that it's weird because usually you don't want that many troops, both because of Sentinel, also because of Exemplar, and you gain attack based on how many troops you have. It's just so weird. This card is so weird. I have to say, I'm really not a fan of Valdor. Between him and Lemarras that got many complaints, I think Lemarras is way better than Valdor. Way better. Ixion Hail. Golden Legion, which is this card right here. Your next Custodian this turn costs 1 less, which is not a bad card by any means. 2 attack, 30 HP. Choose a Custodian and put it in your hand. The fact that it is just Custodian, if it was also the vehicles, I think this card would be amazing too, because the vehicles of Legio Custodes are actually really good. So I don't know, I'm not also he has low initiative, which is more prone at being aggroed out of the game. I have to say, I don't really think Hail will be that competitive. I think still the best choice is Amon, but maybe, I don't know, we will see. The Golden Legion card is pretty strong. You can play some really strong cards by turn 2. So I don't know, if you want, pick it up. I don't know if Custodes will be a thing in the first place, but Hail definitely has some legs. Valdor, I think, is one of the worst, and Amon is, I think, the best one for an aggro perspective. As a control, maybe Hail, maybe, but I am not sure about that. So starting with the troops, Aloris Sagittarium, Guard Squad, Sentinel, 2/2, Nemesis, draw Custodian. So I have to say this card is not terrible, but the problem is, yes, you draw a Custodian, it's pretty easy to trigger the Nemesis in this case. The problem begins when the opponent just ignores your 2/2 because it's just a 2/2, attacks you in the face, and then you don't draw any card. And I think, like, if this was a 2 energy, 2/4 or 2/3, maybe it would be even playable. But like this, like, whoever is going to kill this guy, no one. Like, they know what Sentinel does. They will never kill this 2/2, and they would always deny you the card unless they are unless they want to protect something really important. They always deny you the card. So I think it's a really, I don't know, weird type of card. At least it draws you something, because there are even other troops that don't even do that, and this is going to be so hard to overcome. Like, the drawback is really important. Inviolable Psyche. Give shield to a friendly unit. Not bad. Yeah, not bad. Not a bad card. Both troops and warlords, so yeah, I think it's playable. Binding Oath. Give frontline +1/+1 to a friendly troop. This makes it so that they can't ignore your Custodes. I think the card itself is really bad, because frontline and +1/+1 for 2 energy is not a good trade, I think. I don't know. Like, I don't think this card will be played at all. Chosen Warrior. Okay, this card I really like. Give +2/+2 and first strike to a friendly unit on the next attack this turn. This can be on a troop, on a warlord, on a flanking troop, Vorax, for example. I think it's a really strong card, and we'll see 2 copies in most decks. Especially good on the warlord, since it lets you kill a 4-cost troop for 2 energy without taking any damage. So I think Chosen Warrior will see a good amount of play. Duncan Atoy Gear Falcon. Flank 2/3 for 2, rally, all enemies lose stealth and precognition. This card is amazing. It's one of the best bikes in the game. I would play 2 of these in every deck, if I have to say. It's just so good. Deny the Dark, I think, was already there. Stun an enemy tactics goes 2 more. Okay, nothing crazy. This is a new card. Sentinel, 2 energy for 3. Okay. Exemplar, gains first strike this turn. The point is that at turn 1, a 4/3, yes, it's good. But there are so many warlords that can just take this apart. Yes, maybe they're going to take 4 damage, but if they don't care about the first strike, you are losing cards already for turn 1, and it takes you 2 turns to take this out because it has 3 health. So I don't know. I think this card is garbage, but I don't know. Like, it's so difficult to evaluate. But I think, like, if I'm playing against, for example, I don't know, Angron, he can kill this turn 1, but he will never do it, because it's more important to deny 2 cards out of your opponent than killing a 4/3. So I don't really think this will see any play. This was already in. Okay, Orion Dropship. Choose a Custodian from your deck and draw it. I think this card is good. Not bad. And also the fact that you can choose it and it's not random helps you taking just what you need. I think this is a cute card. You can do it turn 1. Maybe with Ale you can set up a little bit of a combo with this legendary to drop it turn 2, and this increases the chance of you drawing it. Apart from that, nothing crazy, but as a common, I think this will see some play. Rothrian Constor, Nemesis Sentinel, gains +2/+0, 2/4 for 2. So this potentially is a turn 2, because nobody is going to play a 3 attack troop on turn 1 except maybe just a few warlords. It's a 4/4 for 2 energy that actually denies you the draw. I don't think it's that great. Not even in aggro, because in aggro you want to draw card. It's the same point as Alloris. You can just ignore this. It's not a big deal. So I wouldn't recommend you playing this card. Maybe I'm wrong, but honestly, I really don't think this is that like that must-have card that you need to have in the Custodes deck. Speaking of must-having cards, Agamotto's Jetbike is just amazing. Flank, 4-3-4-3, already pretty good. Nemesis gain first strike. I think this card will see play 2 of in every single Custodes deck. It's just really, really good. Giving first strike to a 4-3 is actually pretty big. So this is, I think, is a card that if you're playing Custodes, it's worth crafting without any doubt. This card is amazing. Dankanatoi Sagittari. Sentinel, your word that +1/+0 is a 4-4-4-3. I like this card. Like this is the type of card that you really struggle to ignore, because giving, for example, Amon a 3 attack, now his first strike is going to be it's going to have an higher reach, and still it's a 4-4, so yes, the stat is not great, but it's not even that bad, and the effect is really good. So I think this will see some play. I actually like this card. It's one of the few Custodes I think it's worth playing. Then there are not so many more that I think are good, but this one is pretty interesting. Dankanatoi Warden, Sentinel Frontline, 2-6-4-3. Okay, the stat line is okay, but think about that. Like the 3 energy frontline guy from Thousand Sons is a 2-5, it's a Psyker and doesn't have Sentinel. Which one is the better card? Surely not this one. It's not bad, but it's not nearly as good as it needs to be. Because Sentinel is such a big drawback. Like, you will stuck with no hand at all. There is a reason why all Custodes basically play only Nassau. Because it's the only one that plays without troops. Because, like, the only troops you were playing were Anti-Nigel, Cobernus for the combo, and maybe Turmalis, and that was it. So I don't know about Dankanatoi Warden. It's a replacement for the 4 energy 4-6. I don't know if it's really worth it. Golden Exemplar. Give +1/+1 to Custodian in your deck. Actually, this gives +1/+1 to all Custodes. I think this card is really not great. It makes Nemesis harder to trigger. Custodes are already pretty big. Why? There is no point in buffing them more. The point is in making them not lose cards. Like, if you are playing, for example, a 6-8, what's the difference between a 6-8 and a 7-9? There is really no difference, like in taking this out. So it really works with low-cost troops. But the point is that low-cost troops, it's not where you want to play. Like, I don't think it's what you want to play as a Custodes. Like, even if this was a 3-7, you're playing it turn 4. If they want to remove it, they will remove it. Like, there is no question about it. I don't think the Golden Exemplar is that good of a card. Imperium's Law. Draw 2 cards. If it's a troop, give it +0/+1. If it's a tactic, lower its cost by 1. This card is amazing. We'll see a lot of 2 of, I think. It's just a really good card. It's like Abandoned Supplies, but it works only for tactics in this way. And draws you 2 cards. Like, Gathering Intelligence is 4 energy. Draw you 2 cards without any buffs. This buffs the cards, cost 1 energy less. This card is amazing. It's a 2 of, I think, in every single Custodes deck by far. Incarnate Purpose. Your warlord gains Bloodthirst and +1/+0 this turn. Amazing. This card is amazing. With Ammon is incredible. I think this will see. With Ammon, for sure, you are going to be like 2 of this. I think. There is no way you're putting less. And also, this enables kind of the old War Spear combo, because you can play one of these, 3 energy, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, and it's +4, +1, so +5, +6 attack, and double strike, and Bloodthirst, with first strike, so you're dealing 20 damage with this. It's not bad. Like, if somehow you get the cost reduced, like from Imperious Law, I think you can achieve like a lot of damage. Like, I think the combo, the potential is there. +4, +5, +6, it's 16 damage, just like that. If you are able to do something else, like with some discounts or whatever, or Drilling Sight or Arvus Lighter, you can achieve a lot of damage. And also, as a control tool, is just really good anyway, so I think this card will see play. Kianatoi Custodian. Sentinel, choose a card from your deck and draw it. So this kind of makes up for the Sentinel. It's a 3/5 for 3, okay, not great. I mean, it has a drawback. And if you're drawing, you're not attacking, so okay. It's an okay card. I wouldn't play that, but it's not the worst. Warden Maxim. Sentinel for 3/3. Nemesis deal 3 damage to a random enemy. This card is awful, I think. 3 health for a Custodes with Sentinel. Really? And this Nemesis is, I don't know, it's not triggering before turn 4. So what are you doing with the 2 energy remaining, apart from playing a 4/3? I don't think it's good. Agents of the Emperor. Put in play a Duncanatoy Warden, which is the 2/6, heal 5, and your warlord gain first strike and +2/+0. I think this card is playable, has some degree of flexibility. It's not great, but maybe as a one-off, it's not that bad. It can help you. I wouldn't play it in Ammon, maybe, because you already have first strike, and I think this, I know it's just a weak buff. The Duncanatoy Warden is the most efficient way of using this card, but it depends if you want a 2/6 with Sentinel. The point is also that I'm a little bit on the fence of this one, because they are only defensive buffs, like healing, getting first strike so you don't take damage, put in play a front line. Like, if it was also something offensive, I think this card will see more play. Captain Gildaros. Battle Honor, draw a card, Sentinel, 5/5/4/4. Okay, this card is not bad. It could be worse than this. At least it draws you something if it survives. But yeah, like, it's not great. It's a replacement for the... No, it's actually staying the 5 energy, 6/6, I think. I think it's not that bad. Like, if you want, you can try it. I don't think it's great, but maybe. But there are some better 4-drops. Like, for example, this one. Sentinel flank, Battle Honor heals 2. 5/4/4. Like, all the Hunting Eagles was so much better than this one. Okay, it's not great, but at least it's a flanker, does something when it comes into play. I think this will see some play, but the bikes are just so better flankers than this one. Their own Warden. 4 energy, 3-5. The stat line is terrible. Sentinel frontline, exemplar game +0/+2. So, before we had a 4-6 frontline Sentinel, this one is strictly worse. Unless you get to your turn and then it's kind of equal. But I think the one we had before was so much better than this one. I really don't like this card. If it, I don't know, the 4 cost for a 3-5 is just so bad with the Sentinel drawback. Magna Imperator. Your warlord gains when a friendly troop triggers exemplar, it triggers twice. So this, I think, if you want to go with Valdor, it's a must-have. Apart from that, I think it's terrible, but because triggering exemplar is not so easy, and there are some actually good cards that don't care about this card. Like for example, one of I think the best legendaries they have, which is Natadian Tychor. Sentinel Shield, Exemplar gain Shield. This doesn't care a shit about Magna Imperator. So I don't know, like, apart from Valdor, I don't think there is anyone that will play this card. Natadian Tychor, I think if we want to play Custodes, you just put it in, because it's so obnoxious to deal with. You have a turn 3 and turn 2 with Hail, 5-5 with Shield. 5-5 is really hard to ignore. The fact that he gains Shield back means that you can, like, he can bash your opponent's face every fucking turn and still get the Shield again. I think this card is not bad. This card will see play for sure, I think. If you're playing Custodes, this goes in, I think. The body is good for the cost. The fact that it has Shield and gains Shield is just really interesting. I think this card will see play. Proconsul Caligus. Sentinel, Nemesis, give +1/+1/+0 to your units this turn. This is a Nemesis unit that I think can work. This gives +1/+0 to your warlord. So Amon actually gets to 4 attack with this guy. If you play 2, and they are both going to trigger, so Amon is going to 6 attack, for example. I think this card could see some play. It's not bad as it seems. The stat line is not amazing, but the effect is, especially if you are playing neutral cards that actually don't need, they don't have Sentinel, so they let you draw. This card becomes a pretty big board buffer, I think. Unspoken Sanction. Jam all troops, deal 2 damage to a random enemy for each troop affected. So this is basically getting rid of the Sentinel while also dealing damage and jamming the opponents for 4 energy. So the effect is not bad, but really this is how you like EG wants us to deal with Sentinel. Like, you jam your own troops and just keep the stat line. Also, you are losing Exemplar. You're like, what's the point? I don't know. I think this card will see play because a regular gem, like an all board gem, is not bad. But I don't like the design. The effect is okay. Like, maybe you have 2 troops into play, you deal 4 damage and jam all troops. It's okay for 4 energy. Ancient Paradon. Frontline Nemesis gains Shield and Survivor 2. Hard to trigger Nemesis, but the Nemesis is really good. Doesn't have Sentinel. This card is good. We'll see some play for sure. Ares Gunship. Deal 5 damage, Ordnance 4. We'll see some play for sure. Especially in aggro matchup, you can put 2 of these and it's 10 damage on 10 energy. So yeah, it's good. Auric Master. Create 3 random Custodes vehicles in your hand, they cost 2 less. It's not bad. This can create you bikes, can create you the Pallas, can create you the Iron Mithridates, which are actually good vehicles. Can also create you some random shit, but 2 energy less is not bad. And actually vehicles I think are more interesting than Custodian. Cleoman's Warden, this was already in, I think this card is not bad. Custodian Prefect, Sentinel First Strike Exemplar, Link +2/+0, this card is awful, will not see any play. Darian El Status, Sentinel Sneak Attack, Nemesis attack as a random enemy troop. So this attacks like whatever it chooses, like it's not that it attacks the troop that it can kill. It's not bad, it's not great, only 4 health is going to die really easily. I don't know, like it's not bad, but like I don't know how many times are you going to trigger the Nemesis? Like 7 attack troops are not common at all, unless in the event because other people are playing Custodians, but apart from that it's really hard to trigger. I wouldn't bother crafting this card, but maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm proven wrong, but I don't think, like maybe you're putting it in, but only because there is nothing better than this card. But I think right now is really bad. Like maybe not really bad, but I don't know, just play Tishayal. Like it's stronger, doesn't have a condition for attacking, doesn't have Sentinel. Sneak attack and terror are basically the same thing because Tishayal is so high attack. I don't know. Yes, this comes in earlier, but what's the chance that they are having a 7 attack troop by turn 4? It's non-existent. Nobody have a 7 attack troop on turn 4 except from, I don't know, random decks, but I don't know, I don't like this card. Palace Grab Attack, 5 energy, 6/5, a little bit weak. Vantage, 3 energy, deal 6 damage to an enemy troop. This will see play, but it's not great. However, it's not even that bad. For 8 energy you are playing a 6/5 and dealing 6 damage to troop. I don't think it's that bad. It's surely better than Darian. Also, if you get the discount with our Master, you can do it for 6 energy, and it's actually on curve, so I think this card is not bad at all. Unyielding Sentinel, give Survivor 2 to your warlord and Legio units. I think for 5 energy, so much. I don't know, I don't think this card will see any play. Valdus Sodality, 6/5 for 5, Sentinel Exemplar, deal 2 damage to a random enemy 2 times. 5 health is the problem. It's so low for a Sentinel guy. The Exemplar effect is not that bad. Maybe this will actually see some play, because having the sentry turret effect on a 6/5 body for the same cost is not bad. Like, they would like to remove this. I think it could see some play. I'm not 100% sure, but it's one of the better Custodians that there are, so it's not that bad. Aquilon Sodality, 6/8 for 6, Sentinel Nemesis that is never going to trigger, stand enemy troop with the highest attack. This can work only like against, I don't know, Sons of Horus, this kind of, that play like big, very big stuff. Maybe it's also because it doesn't target, so maybe it works. But yeah, if this would have frontline, it would be amazing, but it doesn't, so it sucks. Excelis Asdrubal, first strike battle on all games for Survivor 3, 7/5 for 6 energy. This card I think will see play. The problem is that it needs to stick on the board, which is not easy at all. But the effect, it's really good. It has first strike on a 7 attack troop. If somehow this survives, there are going to be some trouble for the opponent. So I think this will see some play. Fire Pike Terminators, 6/7, Sentinel for 6, Exemplar deal 2 damage to all enemies. So this is a good Custodian. This you can't ignore it. Like, it's going to deal 2 to all of your board. It's a 6/7, so it's hard to take down. I think this will see some play. It's a good card. Ire of Mithridates. Rally, choose a Custodian for your deck and draw it, 6/6 for 6. It's not bad, it cycles itself, and also lets you choose. I think this will see some play. This was already in Golden Death. Destroy an enemy troop, your nemesis effective trigger twice. It's so slow. Like, the point is so slow. It's not bad. But 7 energy for destroying a troop? If this was 6 energy, maybe. But 7 energy, no, I don't think so. Also triggering nemesis twice, you need to have an higher, a troop with higher tech than your gigantic Custodes, so I don't think it's going to be a thing that much. It's really strong with if you can proc it with Darian to attack twice with sneak attack. But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't play this card. Heracal Calaxor. Sentinel 8/8 for 7, Exemplar, give +2/+0 to your units. Great card. Good stat line. Amazing as Exemplar, since this gives +2/+0 also to your Warlord. I think this card will see play. Cataphracti Grave Tank. Nemesis gains flank. It's a shit of a card. It's not that high stats for the cost, and actually needs to have an 8 cost troop in order to an 8 attack troop in order to gain flank. This card is terrible, don't play it. Proconsul Tasolian, 8/7 for 7, Sentinel, after an enemy attacks your warlord, draw a card. I don't like it. I think even if it throws you a card, like, if they're going to attack is because they're going to kill you, so I really think this is pretty bad. Duncanatoy Ancient, 7/9, 8 energy, nemesis, deal 4 damage to a random enemy 2 times. When in the hell this is going to ever trigger? Maybe if they have Tishayal, and it's the only way this is going to trigger. Apart from that, the stat line is okay for the cost, and I don't have anything more to say. Like, it's so bad. Tharanatoy Aquilon, Sentinel 8/9 for 8, okay. Rally, destroy all other troops except the enemy troop with the highest attack. So, funnily enough, if you have a bigger Custodes than him, it will save itself and not the highest attack Custodes you have. I don't know. Like, how are you supposed to make use of that? Like, if they have an 8/8, the 8/8 is going to stick and you are going to die. I don't know. I don't like this card. Also, it kills all of your board, and gives nothing good. Like, if you have this is the only troops you have in hand, and you have 2 Sentinel guys out, and your opponent have like 2 troops. If you play this, it's actually going to hurt you more than your opponent. So I don't know. I don't like this card. Cataphracti Annihilator, 9/9 for 9, 5 energy, deal 8 damage. If target dies, connect once more. So it can deal 16 damage to the board and 9 damage to the face. The cost is so high, doesn't have flank. This card will see play only generated by the Auric Master, otherwise I think it's shit. Emperor's Host, lower the cost of 3 Custodian Guards in your hand to 0, so it's basically Invincible Reason for 2 energy more. Okay, it's terrible. Excelsis Gallimadean, frontline, backlash, return this card to your deck. 713 for 10. Ah, I don't even know where to start. Like, at least, like, if it had ward or shield or something, like, I don't know, like, why play this? Just play the Nargol Demon. At least does something when it dies. This comes back to your deck. There is no guarantee that you are going to draw it again. And that you will save yourself if you draw it again. It's okay created by Auric Master because it becomes 8 energy and is more manageable. But for 10 energy it's just too much. So this was the Custodes card review. About deck building, I think if I was going to play Amon, for example, I would play mostly neutral stuff, and then I would play Chosen Warrior, the bikes, discard the Nataden Tychor, Imperium's Law, Incarnate Purpose, like just general aggro, and you have a little bit of burst for the end game. Maybe you can play the, of course, the Taunt guy is amazing. This is for the frontline guy. You can play, of course, the burst. You can play the Cleoman's Warden. It's not a bad card. You can play this card because they have to deal with it. You can play Vexia because it's really good. And it's just bullshit aggro, like just beating you down, attacking every single turn. Maybe it's not amazing, but I think they have an interesting amount of burst, and actually the fact that you play overstated troops, especially maybe in the mid game, can put your opponents a little bit in trouble. So this is how I would play, for example, Amon, or just pure control, but I don't know, like, there is not that much stuff. And if you're playing Valdor, maybe you are sticking with Magna Imperator and the good exemplar guys, like this one, like that one, which is not that bad, this one. But yeah, I don't know, it's really difficult to understand how they will be present in the meta, because it's such a weird faction with such weird effects, weird keywords. I don't know. And also Sentinel is just so much of a drawback. So much. Like, if you're not drawing, how are you going to do that? I don't know. Anyway, as you can understand, I really don't think that Custodes are that amazing, but maybe time will prove me wrong. I hope you guys have an awesome time in the event, and maybe someday I will collect enough cards to make a deck, and maybe I will make a video about it. Okay, have a good day, and let me know what you think about them in the comments.